Hey up. So this episode we are dipping back into Jess Franco's filmography with Cannibals. Also known as White Cannibal Queen, Mondo Cannibal, and Cannibal World, this is a Spanish/Italian 1980 cannibal exploitation film, who'd have guessed, and one of two cannibal-themed films directed by Franco. So this film was shot alongside Cannibal Terror, which was written by an uncredited Franco, and is a film that we're going to be covering very, very soon on the channel. It's like a couple discs away. Both films star Sabrina Sayani, I believe I've said that wrong, but who knows, and both share same sets and locations. The film also stars Al Cliver, who you may recognise from being in Zombie Flesh Eaters, a film that we covered in my Dead of Night collection series, and he was also in The Beyond and House of Clocks, two films that we covered in my Vipco Scream Time collection series. So this was classed as a Section 3 video nasty, meaning that it wasn't prosecuted, but copies could be seized if found. Let's have a little look then, shall we?
How long will it be before we reach our destination?
Well, I think we better spend the night here.
But that way we'll be losing precious time.
Well, I heard some strange cries a while back coming from the banks. Probably on.
What the conditions are like? After all, we've always been together. I don't really understand why.
Feeling cold?
No, not really, thanks.
The plot follows Dr. Taylor, who's travelling on a boat through the jungle with his family, but cannibals attack. They kill his wife, they chop the doctor's arm off, and then they kidnap his daughter, claiming her to be some sort of white goddess. Somehow though, the doctor survives having his arm lopped off, but he's traumatised, so he's put in an institution. 10 years later, he's still in the institution, but he manages to get out with a small crew to see if his daughter's alright. Will he find his daughter before the audience falls asleep? This is incredibly boring. There's a big section which is just recapping stuff we've already seen, followed by another large section which is just slowly ambling through a jungle. The pacing is absolutely terrible, and it was a really tough set.
The doctor's allowed me to take you for a little walk, if you like.
Done to us. You will die. You will die. Slow and painful will be your death. You will be tortured. You will cry.
The acting and dubbing is pretty bad. You probably expected that though, really, didn't you? Most of the characters for some reason either have like a Southern American drawl or some ridiculously over the top posh British accent. It's not hilariously bad, it's just sort of bad and confusing. The gore is a real shame here, because there is gore. There's a fair bit of gore. But unfortunately, it's obstructed by these weird extreme close-ups that dip in and out of focus and change from like slow motion to fast motion. And you're looking at it and you're thinking, what the hell am I actually seeing here? I'm guessing that this was done to speed up production. You know, we don't care about how the effects look, just shove the camera in the face, nobody will tell what they're seeing, and we can move on. And all this is accompanied by this repetitive drum beat and really weird sound effects. It's pretty maddening to watch. We also get a little bit of nudity, to be expected in a Franco film, but there's not a lot of it here. It's lacking in the sleaze area that Franco's usually known for, mostly just focused on Siani. The tribespeople are really worth mentioning here. Usually in these exploitation cannibal films they get an actual sort of indigenous person and shove a camera in front of them, and then they just sort of stand around awkwardly in like a group, and that's the tribe for the film. In this one, it is clearly a bunch of white dudes dressed up as cannibals. None of them wanted to do nudity, they're all wearing loincloths the entire way through the film. Some of them have got wedding bands on, or mustaches, or sideburns, and they're all wearing extremely garishly bright coloured face paint. It's a hell of a look.
Now come along, everybody. Let's make a group. Come on, no hanging about. For heaven's sake, I haven't got all the time in the world, you know. Come on, then. Come on. That's right. Yes, let's make a group. Yes. Now then, Taylor. Now, what would you suggest is the best way? Now, where do we go first?
So there is a pretty obvious reason as to why this film isn't particularly great. Franco has got on record a few times saying how much he hates the cannibal subgenre of films, and how he doesn't understand how anybody would want to watch them. Obviously, he did this, and he wrote Cannibal Terror, which was made to coincide with this one, but he also directed another cannibal film. These were all in the same year, this one being called Devil Hunter, which also stars Al Carver. Now, he said that he only did these films because they were popular and he wanted the money for doing them, and you can really tell because he's basically just sleeping through these films. Very bare bones plot, and it's just, here you go, here's an hour and a half of people wandering through a jungle. He's also got on to say that he thinks Cannibal Terror might be the worst thing he's ever made personally, and he's also said how much he hated working with Siana. Now, this is his quote. He went on to say that, let me read it verbatim, her only good quality was her delectable derriere. Now that sounds like something he'd say, really, doesn't it? I don't really know when he'd have gotten to hate her particularly, because even though she is in this film, she's not in it for very long, and she's got like a handful of lines. Must have just really not liked her.
I'll go to any lengths to find them.
I warn you, it would be risky to take all these people along with us.
I know.
My son will marry you.
Okay, time for the print, and it's actually not too bad, you know. Visually, it looks pretty good. It's clear, it's crisp, it's not the highest quality DVD I've ever seen, but it's not bad, you know. It looks pretty decent. Same can be said for the sound as well. You can generally hear what people are saying easily enough. But there was one big-ish thing that I noticed with this. I don't know if this is an issue with my disc or if it is disc wide, I'm not entirely sure, but about 5 times during my watch of this film, the screen will suddenly glitch a little bit and there'll be an extremely loud burst of static. It's not good. Well, one, if you're playing this film relatively loud, it could damage speakers because it's really loud. And 2, it's just really annoying. So, not great, but outside of that one glitch that, as I say, only happened about 5 times, the print is actually pretty good. And on the disc, we get the film, chapter select, and trailers for other Hard Gore releases. That's your lot. Pretty bare bones, this release. Okay, time for the case. Firstly though, I am going to rectify something that I missed on the Killer Barbies review. Killer Barbies, this and the next film all have this little label on the spine for the Jess Franco collection. Don't really have much to say about it, but I thought it was worth mentioning. So, the description. It seems rushed. It mentions 2 daughters, and unless I'm missing something, I could have sworn there was only 1. And then there's a typo. Hospital is spelled pretty wrong. Outside of this though, the runtime and the other bits of information are correct. The cover is trashy again, looks like a goth eating barbecue. And like last week, we also get the inside advertisements as well. Overall then, this is not good. It's a self-admitted cash grab that plods along and does nothing with its runtime. There are so many better examples of cannibal exploitation films out there. Go check them out instead. I would not recommend this. If for some reason you are in the market though, this is pretty much your lot in the UK. There are other DVD releases, but I'm assuming that it's just the exact same print. I think there's a Shriek collection version, which is usually just a copied print from another budget DVD label. Outside of that, imports, I couldn't find any. Now this film has got about 25 different names, so I might be wrong. There may be an import knocking about somewhere, but I couldn't spot one easily on Amazon. But at the same time, don't bother. Even if there is one, it's a waste of time, don't bother. So, pretty awful film this week. And next episode, we're going to be looking at the third in the mini Jess Franco collection. We're going to be looking at the stupidly named Nightmares Come at Night. No shit.